Lexington County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
16 Londonderry Square. I need to report a missing child.
Every hour, 911 operators receive thousands of distress calls.
I know I can't find her.
Sometimes the issues are resolved without any problems, but at other times, they end really badly. Like in this 911 call of a woman whose child got killed by a neighbor. The call came at 5 p.m. on Monday, February 10th, 2020.
Casey, South Carolina.
All right, and tell me exactly what's happening.
I can't.
You can hear Selena Collins battling through tears as she tells the dispatcher that she couldn't find her daughter. 6-year-old Faye Swetlick came home from school that day at around 2:50 p.m., grabbed a snack, and went out to play in the front yard. When Selena could not find her at 3:45 p.m., she went and asked her neighbors and friends to help search for her little girl, but she was nowhere to be found. Panicking that something terrible might have happened to her daughter, Selena called the police.
Lexington County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
16 Londonderry Square. I need to report a missing child.
In just a few minutes, several officers arrived at the Churchill Heights neighborhood, and the search for Faye Swetlick started. They combed through the woods, knocked on doors, and talked to the neighbors, but nothing panned out. They even brought in K-9 units and used a stuffed animal that Faye slept with every night for the dogs to try and get her scent, but still nothing. Over 100 officers were involved in the search, including firefighters and the sheriff's department, and they brought in every resource available that could help locate the little girl. But as darkness started to set in, the situation became more desperate, and the FBI was called to help. They declared Faye's home as a crime scene and took photos and evidence that they thought would help in the case. Everyone in the neighborhood was interrogated, and their homes searched for clues, but nothing. Faye's biological dad, Chad Swetlick, who lived in North Carolina, was also interviewed by investigators to see if he knew anything about his daughter's disappearance. They searched his house and checked his phone records, but found no evidence that he was involved in any way. Faye's mom, Selena, and her boyfriend, Carter Arkand, were also interviewed separately as investigators tried to figure out if there was something they were hiding about Faye's disappearance. But there was nothing. It was as if Faye had vanished without a trace. The search continued for days, with pictures of Faye being plastered everywhere in the neighborhood. Every night, neighbors and friends gathered to light candles and pray for the little girl's safe return. By this time, the police had talked and searched every house in the neighborhood without any success.
I have not slept. It's hard to eat. We just keep praying that this little girl comes home and that she's not hurt or injured.
The man in question was a 30-year-old Cody Scott Taylor. As investigators were searching the trash bins in the neighborhood, they found a child's polka dot rain boots that matched the description of the ones Faye was wearing when she was last seen in the trash outside Piccadilly Square townhomes, a few yards from Faye's house. They also found a soup ladle with dirt that appeared to have been freshly dug. The discovery led the officers to search the woods behind the townhomes, and that's where they found Faye's body buried in a shallow grave. The autopsy report showed that Faye had been strangled with a trash bag just hours after she went missing. These results were read in a heartbreaking press conference.
Faye Swetlick's death did not occur at the location where her body was discovered. And her body had not been at that location. Her body had been at that location for only a short time. We have concluded that Faye's death was a homicide and took place within only a few hours after she was abducted. The cause of Faye's death has been ruled asphyxiation.
Everybody needs to look out for each other's children. There's too many getting gone, at such a young age. And even though I didn't know this girl, I have 3 grandkids of my own. And it just touches home, Get to know your neighbors, get to walk around.
Going back to Cody Scott Taylor, his roommate found him bleeding in the balcony of their apartment just a few minutes after Faye's body was found. He had cut his own throat with a knife from the kitchen. The officers tried to save his life, but he was already gone. He did not leave a note to say why he did it, but as investigators would soon find out, it all had to do with Faye's death. According to his Facebook account, Cody Scott went to Bluffton High School, where he graduated in 2007. He then attended the University of South Carolina before transferring to Columbia University, where he majored in math, but dropped out a year before graduating. Scott had previously described himself as incel and asexual. An incel is a member of an online subculture of young men who consider themselves unable to attract women sexually and are usually hostile towards women and men who are sexually active. Asexual, on the other hand, is a person who has no sexual feelings or desires and is not attracted to anyone. According to one of his friends, Scott was a loner who consistently had a negative outlook on life and lived without hope. He was scared of women and never spoke to them. And when one time he showed some interest in a female coworker, he was too shy to talk to her. Scott lived about 100 to 150 yards from Faye's home, and when investigators searched his apartment, they found evidence linking him to her death and burial. One of the pieces of evidence was a receipt from Walmart, where Scott bought some gardening supplies, such as a garden towel, potting soil, and fertilizer. Investigators were also able to collect a series of surveillance videos around the neighborhood that showed Scott's movements on the day that Faye was found.
Discovery of Faye's body.
You will see a light in the woods early in the morning of February 13th. This occurred approximately 1 a.m. You will then see a series of videos showing Cody Taylor walking to the Walmart, purchasing potting soil, fertilizer, and other supplies, then catching a ride share and returning to the Churchill Heights neighborhood. I ask that you make note of the clothes that he is wearing, particularly the hooded, dark, long-sleeve top. At 7:24 a.m. in that video, you will see a dark, hooded figure coming from the area of Cody Taylor's apartment. It's zoomed in. You will see him carrying a bag with what looks to be potting soil and fertilizer that was purchased from Walmart. You will see this person dump the bag into an area or onto an area on the edge of the woods and spread it out and then walk back in the direction of the apartment.
The rideshare driver later told the police that Scott appeared nervous when he asked him about Faye's case. After seeing the press and police in the neighborhood, the driver had asked Scott if he knew the missing girl. And Scott nervously said, "I don't know. I have never met her before," and tried to change the subject. You may wonder how the police missed him when they were conducting the door-to-door searches, but actually they didn't. The police had spoken to him twice and even searched the house, but didn't find anything. According to the police, Scott was cooperative and did not seem to be hiding anything. But now with him dead, the police searched the house again, and that's when they found some incriminating evidence against him. There were trash bags that matched the ones used to strangle Faye, and a laundry bag that contained Faye's DNA. They also found a can of odor-eliminating spray, which his roommate said he started using in the home during the time of Faye's disappearance, something he had never done before. The roommate told the police that he thought Scott was just trying to mask the smell of marijuana in their home, but now looking back, he believed that Scott must have been using it to hide the smell of the body. The roommate also said that Scott would not let anyone in his room and would lock his door even if he was at home and in the living room. He said that he thought Scott was weak and would have only committed such a horrible crime if he had people behind him encouraging him online. However, when investigators checked Scott's phone and computer, they did not find anything to suggest that someone else knew what he was up to. The police believed that Scott lured or kidnapped Faye and then killed her shortly after, and hid her in his bedroom for 2 days. He either moved her at night on Wednesday or early Thursday morning after fearing that the police were closing in on him. But the question that everyone has been asking is why? Why did he do it? Sadly, we'll never really know the answers. A year after her death, News 19 WLTX did a memorial for Faye, in which they interviewed her parents, Chad and Selena, and the officer who was in charge of the case.
She was the epitome of that childlike energy that everybody just wishes that they had. From the moment that she woke up in the morning to the moment that she laid her head down at night, it was go, 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 go. She very rarely even ever stopped to eat. Like, sometimes it was her running around with chicken nuggets in her hand, just laughing maniacally.
She's a very social butterfly. She will talk to almost anyone.
If we ran into anybody anywhere, if she liked something that she saw, she would compliment it. She'd like that's a good color on you. I like your hair. But she was always willing to be anybody's friend. And she wanted to be everybody's friend.
Yeah.
No matter who you were, what you looked like, or what you did, she wanted to be your friend.
Oh,
And it's nice.
yeah, it is. It's really glad we have them helping us with all this, what's been going on. I'm really glad that they're in our lives now.
It speaks to me and the way I appreciate on a very deep level everything that the community has done. And it really kind of just speaks to me that at the end of the day, people are basically good. And they are willing to ease the burden of another community member as much as they can. And it restores constantly a lot of my faith. She never really wanted anybody to be sad or to be upset or down. So a lot of trying to keep everything alive with Faye and her legacy is to try to be as happy as possible, or if we are unable to be happy ourselves, to try to make somebody else happy.
I wish everyone can find their Faye. Hope with that energy and everything that she did for us, hopefully someone can find that in maybe someone else, a friend, stuffed animal, just something that they can remind them.
As the Churchill Heights community continues to heal from this tragic loss, people have dedicated colorful benches and playground equipment in honor of Faye's memory. Her parents also shared this really heartbreaking video of Faye singing, "You Are My Sunshine."
You're my sunshine, my only sunshine. You made me happy, I love the gray. I'm so sorry. You never know, dear, how much I love you. No take, my sunshine away.
What do you think about this case? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe.